Top 5 Haunted Cemeteries in Michigan. Redford Cemetery. Other names: Bell Branch Cemetery, Pioneer Cemetery. Founded 1831. Michigan State Historic Site, June 13, 1986. In 1831, Israel Bell, a Pekin village commissioner, gave 1 acre of land to the village for a cemetery, originally called Bell Branch Cemetery, after the river and the settlement founded by Bell in 1818. Its name was changed to Redford Cemetery after Pekin's modern name, Redford Township. Additional acreage obtained in 1849, 1854, and 1883 expanded the cemetery to 10 acres, of which half is in Redford Township and half is in Detroit. A wrought iron fence was built for the cemetery in 1886, with money contributed by Redford Township citizens. Among those buried here are Israel Bell and many war veterans, including 2 from the Revolutionary War, Ephraim Dane Sr. and Darius Smead, and many from the War of 1812, the Civil War, and World War I. In 1886, the iron fence and entrance gate was built for the cemetery at a cost of $1,500. Today that would be almost $41,000. The scrollwork of the iron is what inspired the current logo for the Redford Township Historical Commission. In the 1980s, the gate was repaired for a cost of $4,900, about $11,000 today. Over time, the gate and fence had to be replaced altogether. The old fence is said to have been donated to Henry Ford Greenfield Village, and as of 2019, the original entrance gate is stored at one of Redford Township's public service buildings. The Historical Commission is trying to find a way to preserve and repurpose the beautiful arch. According to Charlotte Prindle Binns, past president of the Descendants of Redford Pioneers, when Detroit annexed part of Redford Township in 1926, the Redford Cemetery Association petitioned both respective governments for control over the cemetery. They received a deed in 1933 from Redford Township for their portion of the cemetery land, and in 1934, a lease from the city of Detroit for the remaining 7 acres. The lease is supposed to last forever. Charlotte passed away in 2000 at the age of 94. She is buried in the Redford Cemetery. In 1939, Clarence and Marjoria Beavis made a list of every burial at the Redford Cemetery. Marjoria was the granddaughter of Redford's 5th settler, George Norris, who arrived in 1828. The lists recorded by the Beavises were eventually compiled into a book, thanks to the help of the Redford Cemetery Association, Detroit Society of Genealogical Research, Saratoga Chapter, New York Daughters of the American Revolution, that is available for purchase through the Redford Historical Commission or the Redford Cemetery Association. According to Lois Carpenter, a past Redford Historical Commission member, if you're interested in very early Redford history, walk through the cemetery, read the names: Bell, Blue, Green, Hendry, Lyon, Perrin, Pierce, Prindle, Smith, Wilmarth, and you've got the beginning. In 1883, Judge Alexander Blue's widow and sons spent $3,000 on a monument for his burial site at the Redford Cemetery. That would be about 76 kelling today. The state historic marker for the Redford Cemetery was finally achieved in 1986, after years of research and documentation by the Redford Cemetery Association, including Helen E. Gallagher, Olive Hop Swanson, Lois S. Harrison, John M. Prindle, and many others. Gallagher stated in a 1992 Redford Observer article that 5 generations of her family are buried in the Redford Cemetery. Gallagher's mother, Olive Hop Swanson, is credited with the idea of pursuing a historical marker for the cemetery. Unfortunately, she passed away before she could see that dream realized. Swanson is buried in the cemetery along with Gallagher's grandfathers, David Chavey and Henry Hop Thwer. The funds for the historic marker were donated in Swanson's memory. The official ceremony and dedication of the marker took place in 1989 and was attended by over 50 people, including a former Michigan governor and president of the Michigan Historical Commission, John B. Swainson. The grave is said to be immediately to the left of the entrance. If you stand in the vicinity long enough, the stench of death will reach you. This smell is followed by the appearance of the gardener, whose ghost will appear coming over the hill towards you. Be alert, because his apparition only lasts for a few seconds before he decides to disappear. The gardener is not the only ghost that makes its presence known here. The disembodied sobbing of a woman can be heard, but when trying to pinpoint the exact location, She can never be found, but the sound of the sobbing will continue. Apparitions, shadow people, and dark figures are seen in the surrounding forests, and the ground has been known to rumble and shake from time to time. Pear Cheney, Michigan's legendary ghost town nestled in the heart of Crawford County, lies the eerie remnants of Pear Cheney. Pear Cheney was once a thriving lumber town that is now shrouded in ghostly tales and mysterious legends. Founded in 1874 by George Cheney, the village quickly grew into a bustling community. By the 1870s, Pear Cheney boasted a population of approximately 1,500 residents. The land was auctioned off and its buildings were abandoned. What led to the demise of Pear Cheney, and why does it hold such a haunted reputation today? Pear Cheney's origins as a lumber town saw it flourish rapidly. However, the town's prosperity was short-lived. In 1893, a devastating outbreak of diphtheria swept through the village, claiming numerous lives. As the community struggled to recover, a series of fires broke out, likely caused by sparks from the mills, leaving much of the village in ruins. Today, all that remains of Pear Cheney is its cemetery, a site that has garnered a reputation for paranormal activity and ghostly legends. Among the numerous tales, the most famous is that of the witch who allegedly cursed the village. According to local folklore, a woman accused of witchcraft was banished to the woods surrounding Pear Cheney. In her anger, she is said to have cursed the village, a curse many believe led to the outbreaks of disease and the devastating fires. The cemetery, which holds the graves of about 90 people, is central to these ghost stories. Visitors have reported seeing apparitions, glowing orbs, and mysterious lights, as well as hearing disembodied voices and children's laughter. Some have even found unexplained handprints on their cars after visiting the site. The only vegetation that grows in Pear Cheney is a type of moss, adding to the eerie atmosphere of the area. Myths and reality. The story of Pear Cheney is filled with myths and theories, some more believable than others. One popular belief is that the town was built on an old Native American burial ground, a trope often used to explain hauntings. While this theory is widely regarded as worn out, it persists in the local lore. Another version of the legend suggests that the supposed witch was a townswoman who became pregnant out of wedlock and was subsequently banished. In her rage and sorrow, she cursed the town, leading to its eventual downfall. Despite the dramatic nature of these stories, some elements can be traced back to historical events, such as the repeated outbreaks of disease and the destructive fires. Despite its abandonment, Pear Cheney has not faded entirely from memory. Pear Cheney's story continues to captivate those interested in the paranormal and Michigan's history. It is known as one of the most haunted places in the United States, second only to the legend of Bloody Mary in Indiana. This notoriety ensures that it remains a subject of fascination and speculation. The tales of witches, ghosts, and curses create an enduring mystique. The tangible remnants of the past draws people to this ghost town. Located southeast of Grayling, Pear Cheney is accessible via a one-lane dirt track. This lonely track adds to the sense of foreboding as visitors approach the site. Whether one believes in the supernatural or not, the history and legends surrounding Pear Cheney offer a compelling glimpse into a bygone era and the enduring power of storytelling. Pear Cheney's story continues to captivate those interested in the paranormal and Michigan's history. It is known as one of the most haunted places in the United States, second only to the legend of Bloody Mary in Indiana. This notoriety ensures that it remains a subject of fascination and speculation. The tales of witches, ghosts, and curses create an enduring mystique. The tangible remnants of the past draws people to this ghost town. Located southeast of Grayling, Pear Cheney is accessible via a one-lane dirt track. This lonely track adds to the sense. The Otter Witch. The legend of the Otter Witch still spooks people to this day as she continues to roam and haunt the Findlay Cemetery. The story. Sometime during the 1800s, a woman was being unfaithful to her husband, meeting her lover at night while her husband slept. She would quietly sneak out of bed, creep out the door, and keep her illicit rendezvous. Her husband finally got suspicious and stayed awake one night in order to catch her in the act, and he did. One night he was lying in bed pretending to fall asleep, waiting for his wife to sneak out. When she did, he followed her and saw the two lovers embrace. This drove hubby crazy and he attacked the two, first killing his wife and then set upon the man. After an extremely gruesome battle between husband and lover, they both wound up dying from their extensive wounds. This all took place in the woods near the over the years people have claimed to see the woman in white, also called the Ada Witch, in the Findlay Cemetery area. Others say they have seen bluish-green mists and orbs, hear footsteps and screaming, been physically touched by hands that aren't there, tapped on the shoulder by unseen fingers, and hear the sounds of fighting and a woman weeping. These paranormal events usually take place on nights of a full moon, and they don't just happen within the cemetery. William Ganong Cemetery is a cemetery located in Westland, Michigan, U.S. It is named after a local farmer who set aside a portion of his farmland for burials in 1832. It contains approximately 350 interments. It is currently owned by Wayne County and no longer open for further burials. The cemetery's main claim to fame is having a reputation among ghost enthusiasts who consider the grounds to be haunted. Many visitors to the cemetery have reported seeing apparitions flitting among the headstones, and there has even been several minor car accidents on the road near the cemetery, with people claiming that they saw something run out into the road in front of them. The Deadly Blonde of Butler Cemetery, Westland, Michigan. William Ganong Cemetery, also referred to as Butler Cemetery, is one of this state's most haunted, most legendary, and most talked about cemeteries, located on Henry Ruft Road in Westland. In 1980, a psychic was investigating the graveyard when she came across what she thought was a blonde wig. It wasn't "it was the scalp taken from a woman. In the vicinity of the scalp were pieces of bone, shards of a coffin, and shreds of a white dress. While authorities speculated a coffin was washed aground due to heavy rainfall, or possibly some animal dug it up, the psychic had a feeling it was the remains of something more diabolic. Then the occurrences began. Traffic accidents began to happen on the curve near the cemetery, killing one man and injuring numerous others. This led to locals believing that the woman whose pieces washed up with her coffin was causing accidents. Unfortunate motorists have seen an attractive blonde woman standing in the road in front of their vehicles. When they swerve to miss hitting her, they go off the road and crash. This section of the road has been lazily called Bad Curve, and you can see the pictures in the photo gallery above. She's been called a beautiful blonde and the woman in white. She appears not just in the middle of the road, but has been seen wisping her way through the graveyard, disappearing like mist and sometimes walking with a man dressed in a gray uniform. Some people say they've heard screams coming from the cemetery. In 1832, a local farmer gave part of his land to the community to be used as a cemetery. No more people are being buried there, and the cemetery has become overgrown with weeds and grass and is eerie even in broad daylight. It has approximately 350 corpses buried there, and some say when the mobile home park was built around it, they didn't bother to move some of the graves, just like in the film Poltergeist. Some residents of the mobile home park believe their homes were placed over some graves whose headstones were removed, but not the bodies. Therefore, this could be causing some of the extra paranormal activity that goes on in that area. Sounds of clanking, footsteps, weeping, whispers, and more when the cemetery is empty with no visitors. This cemetery is just down the road from another haunted Michigan location, the Eloise Asylum. Haunted Michigan. The Witch of Union Udell Cemetery. Share tweet cemeteries are creepy enough without any paranormal activity or ghost sightings. So here's another Michigan graveyard that is said to be one of the most haunted in our state. The Union Udell Cemetery in Ypsilanti is an extensive graveyard just off Textile Road, south of Ford Lake and southwest of Willow Run Airport. It's another of the handful of stories about a witch buried in the graveyard. How many of these cemetery witch tales are in Michigan? Way too many, for sure. This supposed witch's name was Elizabeth, but there's nothing that says if she died peacefully of natural causes or killed by angry, superstitious townspeople. Mode of death is unknown. Based on this legend, paranormal investigators have flocked to the cemetery, hoping to grab some kind of paranormal evidence, with some actually walking away with what they determine to be proof. Aside from any audio and video evidence recorded on equipment used by investigators, amateur sleuths and visitors have come away with experiences of their own. Shadow people have been seen going from grave to grave, hiding behind trees and grave markers and walking the grounds at a distance. This supposed witch's name was Elizabeth, but there's nothing that says if she died peacefully of natural causes or killed by angry, superstitious townspeople. Mode of death is unknown. Based on this legend, paranormal investigators have flocked to the cemetery, hoping to grab some kind of paranormal evidence, with some actually walking away with what they determine to be proof. Aside from any audio and video evidence recorded on equipment used by investigators, amateur sleuths and visitors have come away with experiences of their own. Shadow people have been seen going from grave to grave, hiding behind trees and grave markers and walking the grounds at a distance. Weird sounds like guttural growling and snarls have been heard emanating from undecipherable spots throughout the graveyard grounds during the dead of night. Why a witch would growl or snarl is beyond me, unless it was for the sole purpose to frighten away unwanted visitors. If you are so inclined to check this cemetery out for yourself, remember to treat the grounds and all gravestones, plots, and remembrances with respect. Don't vandalize, litter, trespass after hours, or be loud and obnoxious. Don't ruin it for others or even yourself in case you decide to make a future visit.